Hello and welcome to Modern HTML and CSS from the beginning. So in this video I just want to talk a little bit about what you can expect from this course. So this is going to be a comprehensive course on HTML and CSS, and we're going to start from the absolute beginning, starting with HTML5 markup. We'll go through all the basics of CSS to the latest features like Flex, CSS Grid, animation, variables, responsive design, and much more. And this course will include both learning sections where we'll work in a sandbox to really understand how things work, as well as multiple full projects. So who is this course actually for? The short answer is absolutely everybody. So whether you're a beginner looking to get started in web development or a seasoned developer that just wants to get better at CSS and UI without having to rely on frameworks like Bootstrap. So sections 1 through 4 are going to be geared towards beginners in that we go over the basics of how websites work, HTML, tags and attributes, things like that, as well as CSS fundamentals. So if you want to skip those sections and start working with newer technologies like Flex and the Grid, feel free to do so. So here's a general summary of what you'll learn in this course. So we're going to learn the basics of how the web works, how IP addresses work and DNS and all that good stuff. We'll be working with the Visual Studio Code text editor. So we're going to learn about keyboard shortcuts, something called Emmet, which allows us to write much faster HTML. We'll be looking at HTML5, including the semantic markup, semantic tags, CSS fundamentals, responsive design with media queries. Every single project that we create is going to be responsive, so it'll look good on desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones, everything. We're also going to look at Flexbox, CSS Grid, more advanced topics like animation, CSS variables, pseudo selectors. We'll build things like sticky menus, overlays, style forms, things like that. And not only are we going to build websites and projects, we're also going to deploy them. So we'll be dealing with first a shared host, which is a cPanel host. I'll show you how to set up email accounts, how to upload your files with FTP, and then we're also going to deploy to an excellent platform called Netlify, which gives us form processing. We'll be learning about the Git version control system so that we can upload to GitHub and then deploy straight to Netlify from GitHub. All right, now I also have planned another section on Sass, which will be coming in about a month or so. So we'll have a section on Sass and we'll have a project where we use Sass, which is a CSS preprocessor. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of the projects that we'll be creating. And as I said, this is going to be a mix of learning sections and projects. So we'll have sections where we'll be working in just a sandbox, just looking at certain features like, let's say, the box model or media queries, things like that. So you can really wrap your head around, the concepts. And then we're going to be creating full projects as well. So for instance, this hotel project will be the first website we create. And this is going to be before we even learn about Flex or the Grid and stuff like that. We'll be using floats, just pure CSS fundamentals. And then the next one here, the Edge Ledger site, which is a single page website for like an accounting firm or something like that. We'll be using Flex, and we'll also be implementing like a Google map, some very, very basic JavaScript. I want to stress that this is not a JavaScript course. There's very minimal JavaScript. I do have a full 21-hour course called Modern JavaScript from the beginning, if you're interested in that. But we'll be doing like overlays for the images, stuff like that. And all of these are completely responsive. This right here, this News Grid website, we'll be using CSS Grid. We'll be using, spanning rows and stuff like that, grid template columns and so on. And then we have this one, which is the focus of this project is the hamburger menu. It's actually a pure CSS hamburger and a menu with an overlay. So when we click this, this will animate into an X and it shows a nice overlay menu. We'll also be creating a timeline. So this is built with CSS with a little bit of JavaScript so that when we scroll, each side comes in as it enters the viewport. And then this is just a simple form that we're going to be styling, and I'm actually going to give you guys a challenge to style the form on your own before showing you how to do it. All right, so these are just some of the projects that we'll be doing in this course. And again, I will be adding an extra Sass project later on. All right, so that's it, guys. In the next video, I just want to try and explain the gist of how websites work, where are they stored, how are they loaded in the browser, things like that. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.
living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer.